This is part 38 of Bootstrap tutorial. In this video, we'll discuss the Bootstrap accordion. In our previous video, we discussed the Bootstrap collapse plugin. In this video, we'll discuss how to extend the collapse plugin to build an accordion that looks like this. So let's flip to Visual Studio. The first thing that we are going to do here is create a panel group. To create a panel group, we create a div element with class panel group. And I'm also going to give an ID to this panel group. Since we are building an accordion, let's call it accordion. And inside this panel group, let's go ahead and create a panel. To create a panel, we create a div element with class panel. Let's also apply panel primary contextual state class. And within our panel, let's go ahead and create panel heading. To create a panel heading, we create a div element with class panel heading. And inside this, let's go ahead and use h4 element to create the panel heading. Let's set the class of this to panel title. And inside this, let's use an anchor element. Let's point its href attribute for now to a hash. And then within our panel heading, we want to display continent names. At the moment, we have got 3 continents here: Asia, Europe, and North America. So for the first panel, the heading is going to be Asia. And then let's go ahead and create panel body now. Now before I create panel body, I'm going to create a div element and give it an ID. In a bit we'll see how we are going to make use of this ID. Let's give this div an ID. Let's call it panel body 1. And then inside this div, let's create panel body. So to create panel body, we create a div element with class panel body. And inside the panel bodies, we want to create the countries that are present in the respective continents. So within Asia, we are including just 3 countries, but there are a lot many as well. So for this example, let's use 3 countries. So let's create an unordered list. And the first country is going to be India, China, and finally Japan. Alright, now when we click on the panel heading, we want that respective panel body to be expanded and collapsed. So we need to link the head with the body. So to do that, we are going to use the ID of this div, and then we are going to use the jQuery ID selector here with the href attribute. And then on this anchor element, we are also going to use 2 data dash attributes. So data dash toggle, and we are going to set that to collapse. And the other data dash attribute that we are going to use is data dash parent. And the parent for this panel is this div which has the ID accordion. So again, we are going to use jQuery ID selector and point to that div. Alright. And then when the panel initially loads, we want to keep all the panel bodies collapsed. So to do that, on this div element which has got this ID panel body 1, I'm going to use 2 classes, panel collapse and collapse. Let's make 2 more copies of this div element. So we want one for Europe and the other one for North America. So the last panel is going to be for North America. And let's change the country names in the panel body. So one of the countries is United States of America, we have Canada, and we have Mexico. And we also need to change the IDs here. So for this panel body, let's change the ID to panel body 3, and we need to change the value within the href attribute as well. So let's do that there. And let's do the same thing for the second panel that we have here. So the ID here is going to be panel body 2, and the href attribute is going to point to panel body 2. And let's change the continent name here to Europe, and a few countries within Europe. We have United Kingdom, France, and Germany. Alright, so let's save our changes, reload our page. Notice we get an accordion with 3 panels, and notice all the panel bodies are collapsed. And when I click on the panel heading, the respective panel body expands. When we click on it again, it collapses. And all the Bootstrap accordion panels are working as expected. So to keep all the panels collapsed, we are using panel collapse and collapse classes. Now, if you want to keep them all expanded, then use another class which is in. So use all these three classes in conjunction and you'll have all the panels expanded. So at the moment we are using it on the second panel. So when we reload this page, only the second panel will be expanded on the initial page load. If you want all of them to be expanded, obviously use collapse and in classes on all the three panel bodies. So to have all the accordion panels collapsed on the initial load, use collapse class. And on the other hand, if you want all of them to be expanded, use collapse and in classes. We can also use images with the accordion. Let's say we want to display images in the accordion, as you can see here. Let's flip to Visual Studio. At the moment we have got 3 images within the images folder. Let's say within our first panel we want to display the desert image. So let's change the heading to desert, and within panel body let's replace this unordered list with an image element and make its source attribute point to the desert image within the images folder. And let's also set the alt tag to desert. And within our second panel let's display jellyfish, and again in the second panel body let's replace this unordered list with an image element and change the image to jellyfish. And finally let's go ahead and display penguins in the last panel. So let's change the title here to penguins, and let's replace this unordered list with an image element, and the name of the image is going to be penguins. So let's save our changes and reload our page. Notice the image here is not responsive. When we collapse the panel, it is properly rendered, but then when we expand it, because we've got a large image and it's not responsive, look at that, it goes outside of the panel. So if you want your image to be responsive, then on the image elements use responsive class. So let's go ahead and use img responsive class. So let's go ahead and do this for all the panels that we have. Let's also do it on the first image that we have here. Alright, let's save our changes, reload our page. Now notice the images are responsive. Now even when you resize your browser, it resizes. At the moment, if you look at the grid column size, we are using col axis 7. Let's change it to col axis 12. So it's going to occupy all the 12 columns within our grid system. And now when we resize the browser, look at that. The accordion resizes and the images within the accordion also resizes accordingly. Thank you for listening and have a great day.